This will be the ADHD update part of the episode. I'm not on Adderall today. I'm taking a break from Adderall. So I'm seeing how I'm doing without it. You don't want to be on it. Like, it's just something that I don't want to do every day, even though I probably need it I do need it every day. I need the effects that it causes every day, but I don't want to get addicted to it. I don't want to have it in my system building up to the point where I have a tolerance that's very difficult to get rid of. So yeah, I'm being extremely conservative and I'm respecting the molecule. That is something that is not taught in schools, is how to respect molecules. Like, you don't think about them that often because they're fucking small. Oh yeah, all these molecules, like there's trillions and quadrillions of them all around me. So I'm supposed to respect all of them? No, you just have to respect the ones that you're using for like mind-altering effects and benefit. Like LSD, for example, is a very good, because that molecule is extremely potent. You only need a couple micrograms for it to do something. Okay, you need a little more than a couple. You need about 10 or 50 micrograms. That's like a millionth of a gram for it to actually do something. That's insane. That means you could have if you had a gallon of LSD, I don't know if it's not a liquid, so I don't know why that doesn't really make sense. It would probably be a powder if it was it would be a crystal, which exists. The pure LSD crystal exists. And if you take a lick of that crystal, you better not have anything to do in the next 40 days at least, because it's that potent, and that's why it's like a very interesting chemical. I mean, if it only takes such a small amount for it to have a benefit, yeah, you better respect the hell out of it. You'd be like, it's ridiculous that they don't teach this in school. It's like, because of course kids are going to be exposed to every single drug under the sun. So it's crazy that they don't tell kids how to do it safely. You have to go on YouTube to get this information. The most valuable information tends to be somewhere on YouTube. And I'm saying that as like somebody who's like intelligent. I'm not like a dumb person. You could trust me a little bit, but that's, I'm not an authority. I'm just saying for my own experience, YouTube is where you get the highest quality knowledge on specialized information. That's just how it is. So that's where you find out how to actually take it safely. And that goes for any molecule that you're using, whether it's for medical benefits or recreational. I think that covers any reason to use a drug. If you're using these chemicals, the ones that I am talking about, the ones that I will continue to be talking about on this episode, it's either for a medical benefit or a recreational benefit. There's not really anything else. Like, what else is there to use a drug? So, yeah, you might think you're using it recreationally, but you're actually using it medically. Many people who use, all these common things like weed, even caffeine, I would say, they're taking it for medical reasons, not just for fun. Like, oh, yeah, coffee, it makes me buzzed. Like, yeah, but that also gives you a reason to get shit going, and it gets the ball rolling to get you to get work done. So you could argue that there actually is a medical reason that you're using it, because other substances will get you to that same place that are not caffeine, that are prescribed. And I found that out with the ADHD medicine that I'm on. I don't need to be on caffeine if I'm on Adderall. Adderall does what caffeine does a lot better. You need a tiny bit. It doesn't make you jittery. Okay, it can. It could definitely make you tense up in the jaw. It gives you it makes you want to clench your jaw, but that means you're taking too much. It's powerful enough where you shouldn't be taken enough to experience that side effect. And if you're taking it for ADHD, yeah, you're only taking it to remove the symptoms of ADHD. You're using it to neutralize those symptoms. You're not taking it to add on extra shit that you don't need. Because if you have ADHD, you're probably already a pretty good person. Like, you're probably already pretty competent at life, unless you have some other condition. If you just have ADHD, you don't have to take it recreationally. I've only really, I've experienced people that take it for ADHD, and I've experienced people taking it recreationally. Both of those people take way too much. I've never met anybody who's taken the amount that I'm taking, which is about 5 milligrams, and that's plenty. Even that is almost more than I need, which is insane, which is just confirms that I'm actually taking it for the proper reason. I'm taking it for what what it's actually prescribed for. And that makes me a little bit guarded it makes me very defensive when somebody asks me, about Adderall. Like, I don't want to share it with somebody. Like, of course not. Unless it's somebody that maybe has undiagnosed ADHD, then maybe I would consider, like, okay, I'll give you a tiny bit, but this would be somebody that I'm very close with, not just some rando. If some rando is like, hey, you got any extra Adderall? Like, of course, my answer is going to be like, fuck no. It's mine. I need it. I'm taking it. It's medicine. And I am taking it as medicine because I don't even like taking it, dude. I don't even get excited for Adderall. It's like, because it lasts so long. It's just, I know I'm going to be up all night. It doesn't matter how early I take it. I'm going to have such a positive day. I'm going to have such a productive day that it's going to put me in a mood where I want to stay up involuntarily. So it causes insomnia for psychological reasons, not for the actual chemical, like, keeping me awake. It's already out of my system by the time I go to bed. But my brain is still active because I'm super, like, elated that I'm having good days instead of bad days. So that's something I'm working on, is how to solve the insomnia problem. I mean, just because you figure out the solution to the symptoms of ADHD, it don't mean that your life is magically perfect the next day. So, and that is how it is for people with ADHD. They have to do it. They have to kind of take things into their own hands. Like, nobody told me to check out ADHD symptom, or like to see if I needed to be treated for it. It was just me. I was the one who did my own research and just ran, after enough Googling, you stumble upon something that sounds like the solution. And it turned out to be the solution. And there's a lot of literature. There's a lot of great YouTubers that talk about ADHD. So if you have it, you'll definitely know if you have it if you immerse yourself on these online communities. So not everybody does that. My doctor did not tell me, okay, maybe it's ADHD, even though I went to him complaining about the symptoms of ADHD. Like, I told him I couldn't focus on things that I was definitely, used to be interested in. But he's just like, yeah, that sounds like depression. Because I presented with depression. I thought it was like clinical depression. That's how bad it was. I was like bedridden for most of the day. It was a productive day if I took out the garbage. That was considered that was considered like a productive day when I was untreated. So I thought, okay, I must be like really depressed, like not just a little depressed. If I can't even like get shit done around the house, that sounds like clinical depression. So that's not what it was. I'm no longer depressed. I have, depression, but it's not clinical. It's one of the, it's one of the effects of Adderall wearing off. When Adderall wears off, you're going to naturally feel a little bit of a come down. And that come down, for me, presents as melancholy. You just feel sad a little bit. Yeah, just minor melancholy. And I didn't have that when I was depressed. When I was depressed, I didn't have melancholy. I just had lack of emotions whatsoever. Lack of drive to do anything, to move at all. And that's what ADHD is like lack of executive function, which means being able to move around and stuff. So Adderall is a powerful stimulant that gets your brain to tell the other parts of your brain, and then finally down to your brainstem and everything, to actually move and do stuff and be a full functioning human being. It's a very like powerful disease. ADHD, like if you go without treating it, your quality of life is going to be so severely diminished that you're going to feel mentally retarded, handicapped, and a bunch of other words that describe the exact same thing. You're not going to feel like yourself. You're not even going to know yourself until you treat ADHD. That's why I'm spending so much time talking about it, is because there's other people, not just in my bubble, in my family. There's people that in Chicago, one in particular who's a very talented comedian. I'm not going to say who it is, but I discovered that he was one of the best, if not, the best comic in the whole city. He was certainly the best at improv, and he still is. I'm sure he still is great. He's still doing it. I haven't seen him in over a year. He's the best at crowd work. And I was like, okay, so he's clearly the best at something. He's clearly like a legit comic, but nobody really talked about him that much. Like nobody was like, oh man, this guy's like the best. It was pretty much just me and a few other people who knew that he was that good. I don't know. I think it's just jealousy. I don't really know. I think it's just because comedians don't really talk about other comedians in a positive light, unless if there's no reason to. They do. I'll take that back. You could hate another comedian, but if they're funny, you'll admit that they're funny. Most comedians will at least admit if another comic is funny, even if they fucking hate them, So, yeah, okay. So people knew he was funny. The problem is he never, got above the amateur level. Like, he's not a professional. I don't think he is. Okay, maybe, I guess technically he could count as a professional, because I guess he probably, pays taxes on the income that he makes from gigs, but he's not a traveling road comic. He's not even, a feature. Okay, he features at the local clubs. He headlines local amateur-style shows that pay $20 or whatever, but he's not doing what he's worth. He's the level of talent that could be making $10,000 a gig. I mean, if Joe Rogan is, then of course, he is too. He's that good. He's great at comedy, and yet he's not leaving his home base. He's not a true headliner yet, which is insane. He should be a headliner in every club across the country. The reason for that is because, in my opinion, in my non-expert opinion, I'm not a fucking psychiatrist. He has ADHD. He has depression, but his main issue is not the depression. It's just the same exact thing that I was going through. I thought I was clinically depressed. No, I just had ADHD. He's the same way. I think, I know he has ADHD because he told me. I asked him because he was that symptomatic that it was pretty obvious that he had ADHD. And I asked him, do you have ADD? He's like, yeah. Why? He didn't say what. He was like, yeah. But that was the end of the conversation. And I was like, okay. Because clearly it's annoying to deal with somebody with ADHD. They don't listen. You could tell. They're tuning out. It's like, dude, I'm telling you shit that's valuable. Can you fix that? So he had it really bad. And I'm sure he's tried Adderall before. I mean, he's definitely lived a long enough life where I'm sure he's tried fucking Adderall. He probably just didn't like it because he took too much, because doctors don't have the time to deal with the dosages for individual patients. It's not that doctors are not smart enough or educated. They know, I'm sure, that you don't need to be taking 20 milligrams of the stuff every day or any day. For any day, I wouldn't take 20 milligrams. It'd be insane. I'd feel like a coke head. So he probably took too much and just never wanted to do it again. Same with me. He got scared off from the medicine that he needed to live his full life. So this is valuable not just to me, but to other people that just don't know about ADHD. They don't know that it's affecting them to this level because doctors don't want to deal with ADHD patients. I'm just going by a general rule. If they don't specialize in it, they don't want to have patients coming to them asking for Adderall. I mean, it's such an abusable drug. It becomes so habit forming, and you depend on it to do anything that involves your full abilities. It's like, well, if I have something coming up, I'm definitely going to try to clear my schedule. I'm going to lower my tolerance in the meantime so that when I have to really be on the stuff, I only have to take a small amount. And because of course you got to take the good with the bad. You got to calibrate it. You got to modulate. That's the word. You got to know how to modulate this medicine, the dosaging. Because when I went to my doctor with ADHD, I set up an appointment, a video appointment, and he didn't even respond when I asked him for the appointment. I could tell immediately my level of care went down a peg. He was not interested at all in condoning, or what is the word, in being like, yeah, let's go down that. He wasn't enthusiastic about treating ADHD. He would rather it be something that's treatable with a non-controlled substance. But he's still a very good doctor because he prescribed exactly what I needed without me going to a psychiatrist. He said, usually I would refer you to a psychiatrist. I think he did at one point, but I just never actually made the appointment. But he could tell that I knew what I was talking about, and so he got me on the Adderall same day or a couple days later because I had to get a drug test. So he's a good doctor. So I don't have to switch doctors. I'm just saying that, it's not easy. It's not, you kind of have to do it yourself because he didn't tell me nothing about the dose. He said, okay, I'm going to give you 20 extended release. And he said, maybe don't take it every day. That's it. He just said, don't take it every day. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm probably going to take it as needed. He's like, yes. I quickly found out that it was the exact correct medicine for me. And, I only took 10 the first day. And I was like, even that was too much. I was like, holy crap, I'm so fucking focused. I'm a different person. So I took 5, and now that's all I take, if I take it at all. I take 0 milligrams sometimes, and it's fucking great. Not everybody has the luxury of being able to get into a psychiatrist that not only has availability, but also specializes in ADHD and is willing to take on more patients and all that. You really do need to treat this as a chronic condition that requires modulation and you have to be very precise, and you can't just throw a bunch of Adderall down your throat and expect it to be a sustainable solution. And the reason this is such a serious episode, I guess, is because what I'm talking about is actually valuable to other people. That's why I don't have to make jokes every 2 seconds. I know I'm funny. I don't have to prove it every time I'm talking into a microphone. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with ADHD. It's still, I'm obviously going through a very long, it's a transition. You got to take it day by, you can't expect your life to just magically become ideal, the idealized version of what you had planned overnight.